Yes guys, so we've arrived at HMP Lindholme. Before we get started, give a massive shout out to the Real North Audit. Check his link in the description, and as well, Police Abusing Powers. If you want regular police updates every day, Police Abusing Powers is your man. If you want daily live chats, get onto the Real North Audit. I'll put the links in the description. Get subscribed guys, respect. Let's crack on. Guys, so HMP Lindholme is in the Doncaster area of Yorkshire. You up, mate? Let me do my audit, man. Shut up. Guys, HMP Lindholme, it is a very difficult prison to get to. It's very complicated. If you just look over there, guys, there's a couple of prison officers. They're just chilling. They're just chilling out, guys. So this is a Category C prison. Yeah, so there's a story here that I wanted to cover, guys. There were a prison officer here caught bringing in £500,000 worth of drugs. Get on that, £500,000 worth of drugs. It's a little mad side. Look at this. Hey, big up, live free. Say big up, live free. Right, gentlemen. Van coming out. Alright guys, you got any tea and biscuits for us?
No, unfortunately not.
Do you have anything to say about corruption in the prison service, mate?
No.
Do you have anything to say about the officer?
You need to write a letter to the governor and he'll be able to answer them.
Okay, cheers buddy. You alright mate, have you got anything to say on officer corruption?
No,
the officer who brought in £500,000 worth of drugs?
No comment.
Do you condone that behaviour?
No comment.
Right, but listen mate, if you were against corruption, you'd say you don't condone it. Are you for corruption or against it?
No comment.
Because there's a lot of corruption in prison service, isn't there?
No comment.
It's not a police interview, mate. You know, you are allowed to comment.
Doesn't matter. No comment.
I'm just asking if you condone corruption, mate, because the prison service is riddled with it. A third of all officers have only been in job for 2 years, mate. And what they're doing is they're flooding prison system with drugs. And, you know, mate, it's not on, because a lot of people are losing their lives through this. Do you know a lot of young men kill themselves in there? And it's not on that officers smuggle drugs into the system. I'm just asking you, I'm not saying you're like that, but do you condone that type of behaviour? Could you identify yourself, mate? If you're working under Crown. Is there a lot of violence in there? Violence against officers, inmates and inmates? Do you have any comment to make whatsoever, mate? Can you just say that you don't condone that behaviour? Because it's very worrying, mate. There's a lot of people out there worried right now about the prison service, and none of you guys are saying that you don't condone the behaviour. It's almost as if you accept it. It's almost as if you're accepting corruption within the prison service, guys, and it's got to stop. And we are putting a stop to it. We're exposing corruption. There were a prison officer here, mate, caught bringing in £500,000 worth of drugs. £500,000. So we're just trying to find out if these other officers condone that behaviour, because we find it shocking. Absolutely shocking, Lindholme. £500,000 worth of drugs in one move. Trying to clean up, man. You're trying to clean up in one move. Alright guys, serious question, yeah? Where would I find out if I could get a comment for my documentary? Is there anywhere I can write to, guys? Corrupt bastards, aren't there? So guys, let's crack on with this. The annual budget for running HMP Lindholme were 8.3 million, and that were in 2011 to 2012. So basically, each prisoner, it cost £32,000 a year to keep them in here. Right, it's quite pricey. But you know what, guys, yeah, you might think live free is all for prisoners and is all for crime and blah blah blah. That's not the case whatsoever. That is not the case, and that's not why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? But what I do know, that within this prison, right, 80% of the people in there are not bad people. And I'll say it again, 80% of the people in there are not necessarily bad people, right? It's just men, stupid young men mostly, who make stupid mistakes and they're going with wrong crowd. They go down a wrong path, right? That don't make them evil. It means that they made a mistake, right? And whatever you read in papers or whatever you see, it's not pleasant in there. It's not nice to be locked in there, away from your family and your friends and your comforts, right? And that's what the punishment is, yeah? The punishment is being locked away. The punishment isn't getting further beatings by guards, being beaten to a pulp by inmates while guards just allow it to happen. You know, that story, it broke my heart when the lad went to Tameside, right? He were a drug addict, and in his prison that he were in, he were clean for 6 months. He were clean, he were doing bits, man, he were doing it, he were getting his life back on track. Then he goes to this fucking prison, I think it were Exeter, yeah, that's riddled with drugs and officers smuggling drugs into the system, right? And then he gets back on drugs and ends up taking an overdose. Now that is directly down to the fucking prison officer. Directly down to the prison officer who thought it were acceptable to smuggle drugs into the system and make them readily available. These men are suffering. You alright, mate? Do you have anything to say about corruption within prison service?
You what?
Anything to say about corruption? Guards smuggling drugs into the service? Have you got any comments to make? Do you have any comments to make?
Removing yourself from these gates.
Pardon? I won't do that, mate. I won't do that.
No, you need to move.
I won't do that.
You need to move.
I won't do that.
Well, you need to move.
Do you have any comments to say about the prison officer who brought £500,000 worth of drugs in? Because there's young men killing themselves in there, mate, and losing their lives through it.
You're at the wrong gate, mate.
Have you got any comment? I'm asking anybody for comments. I'm at the right gate. I'm asking anybody for comments, mate. Anybody for comments? Guys, it were actually a prison nurse who tried to smuggle in £500,000 worth of drugs. You're right, guys. Just covering the story in there, there's a frigging nurse in there, mate, who tried smuggling in £500,000 worth of drugs in one move. Do you know what I mean? Proper corrupt in there. Do you work in there, guys? Do you not? Do you go on wings and units and that? No. All right. We're just exposing corruption on prison service. Yeah. It's absolutely riddled, man. It is. Yeah, officers bringing drugs in and stuff like that. People killing themselves, getting beaten up by guards. So we're just out here exposing it, guys. Check out Live Free on YouTube, all right? Get subscribed. Live Free. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it, guys. Respect. So yeah, back to that. A prison nurse thinks it's acceptable to smuggle £500,000 worth of drugs. It's the biggest drug bust of its kind in history at HMP Lindholme, and that's where we are today. Very close to another prison here. Very close, but a very, very difficult place to get to, guys. A very difficult place. I am going to get in touch with the Ministry of Justice and the HMP itself, and I'm going to try to get an interview. You alright, love? Do you have anything to say about the prison nurse who smuggled £500,000 worth of drugs into the system? Any comment to make whatsoever, love? Do you have any comments on corrupt prison officers? And do you condone that behaviour? No. Okay. In, right? And all them prison officers what are smuggling drugs into the system, they're making you guys look bad, right? And you guys should be stood shoulder by shoulder to me. You should be my friends, and you should speak to me, and we could tackle this problem together. But instead you scuttle away like little cockroaches, and that means I'll be back, exposing this corruption until there's no more corruption. You're playing with people's lives. Be responsible. Victoria Sked, 26 of Station Road, Stainforth near Doncaster, has been charged with conveying Class B drugs into HMP Lindholme in South Yorkshire. Miss Sked was also charged with bringing a prohibited article intending it to go to a prisoner. Police were called to the prison after Miss Sked was stopped and a search found mobile phones and suspected drugs. She was remanded into custody by Doncaster Magistrates Court and will appear at Sheffield Crown Court on the 19th of September. So guys, an old story here. In 1988, 6 prisoners actually escaped from here through an all-in fence during a pre-dawn riot at Lindholme prison. 4 were captured, said the Home Office. And that's the government department for prisons, basically. Police in Doncaster, 150 miles north of London, said about 200 police officers were called to the prison. It were a former World War II Royal Air Force camp to help guards control the inmates and search for escapees. Where are them dogs? Dogs again. So yeah guys, HMP Lindholme, exposing the corruption, trying to speak to guards, not going to happen. But yeah, since there's another prison local to here, I'm going to head down there, going to expose that one as well. It is a category D prison, it's an open prison. I think it's the first Cat D prison that I've done, so hopefully we can get a good interaction with some inmates there. Mate, before I leave, do you have anything to say? Do you condone corrupt officers? Do you condone that, mate? Right guys, that's HMP Lindholme. Respect. Thanks for watching again. Thanks for subscribing and sharing. I didn't quite realise how the share button thing works, but when I checked my analytics, it said that I've had over 2,000 shares in the last 28 days, and I thought that were people like mirroring your work, but I guess I'm all new to this YouTube. But yeah, keep sharing because it seems to be doing me some good. That respect, guys. Yes guys, that's HMP Lindholme, done and dusted. While we're in area, I'm going to nip down to HMP Hatfield, or Moorlands Open. Respect guys.